Hey, good afternoon.
What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm just handed these two books and I'm so psyched right now. These are books written by you, Dr. AJ Rubano. And I did not know that you were also an author. And I'm so excited to see these. I'm like a book nerd, so it's like a gift here. Um, which one was first? Be, do, and have, or shake off the snake?
Shake Off the Snake was the first one I wrote.
And where did you get that title and what is the book about?
So actually, that one was kind of interesting. I was kind of going through, I would say, I hate to use the word religious, but kind of like a religious phase in my life. And I had a
Spiritual.
mentor, a spiritual mentor, and he preached a sermon and he taught this sermon about the Apostle Paul, who got bitten by a viper and shook it off into the fire and it didn't suffer any ill effects. And it struck me in a way that I was like, that's kind of a metaphor for life, right? We're going to get bitten by different things. We're going to have obstacles. We're going to have things that try to knock us down. It's how do we respond to those that really determines how our life are. And so that's what that book is pretty much about.
And how long did it take you to write it?
So I had always kind of had, that bucket list of, maybe run a marathon, which I did, and write a book, which I end up doing. That book, I literally would write a page a day. It took me almost a full year to write it, but I would literally go to the office before I would see patients. I would just say, today I'm going to write a page. Some days I might write a little bit more. Some days, maybe half a page, but it was always pretty much a page a day. So it took me a year to write that book.
So it's funny because you have some social media where you're kind of like the dancing doctor. And, but when I meet you, your book to me is much more in line with how I see you because when I first met you, and I had seen the social media stuff first, but when I first met you, I was like, he's really more of like an intellectual nerd a little bit. I've never called you that before, but that's kind of the way I saw you because I think we were talking with a patient of yours who told me that he drives really far to come to your office and you basically saved his life in the sense that, he wasn't a person who was dealing or coping well with the amount of pain he was in and your treatment had really alleviated his pain. And you were kind of explaining some of that. And I don't know, we've also talked about business. I mean, you have a practice now, you've been involved in several practices and you're a businessman as well. So like, that's kind of how I saw you when I saw the social media, the fun part of it. But so I'm super excited about this. I did not know that you had written a couple of books, but it's kind of in line with sort of my image apart from, the fun stuff of you.
Well, I mean, I think it's good. I think, I think all of us have a fun side. I mean, certainly I've seen your social media and I can't stop from cracking up when I see some of these. There was one you had recently where you're banging up against a wall and I thought you were going to die with that.
More, yeah, I'm kind of I love Lucy physical comedy kind of person, not meaning to be, but I'm just not coordinated or graceful. So, my husband says it's not a vacation if I haven't tripped and fallen a couple of times over something. So, luckily, I haven't hurt myself, but there's potential's always out there.
Well, you know where to go if you
I know where to go. If I've been injured from the negligence of others, the problem is I've been mostly injured from my own foolishness. But so be, do, and have. When did that get written?
So that was that's an interesting kind of thought process there. I was, in business, you talked about my business side. So in business, I was always trying to add more value to what it is that patients get when they come to my office, not just treatment for the physical body. I'm like, what can I do that might offer something else for they walk out of my door and what can they take home? So I literally started writing these like thoughts for the day. And, I would get a quote and then we would print them out. And when a patient would leave the office, we'd hand them a quote and they had that to take, or we would be, then we got creative. Then we would write it on the side of a coffee cup. We'd make them coffee in the office. And before we leave, we put some, kind of positive remark or positive quote.
I like that.
And then I said, well, thoughts are great, but really thoughts don't change our lives unless they're coupled with actions. So then I started to say, okay, well, now let's write a thought. So we would have like a quote and then an action to go with that quote. And then what is the ultimate goal of anything we do is some kind of end result. So we were literally saying, okay, so, here's your thought for the day. Here's your action step for the day. And then, you fill in the blank. What's your result going to be based on putting that action in the process? So that literally started from literally just something I wanted to give to our patients. After the course of about a year, we had pretty much 365, and I just compiled them into a book.
I love it. Daily attitudes, affirmations, and actions that lead to uncommon success. I think that people don't realize that great things are born of everyday actions. They don't, because people tend to see things exaggerated. Either they look at a situation and either they're feeling grandiose that day and they feel like they can do anything, and then the next day they're not sure and they fear so they get stuck in that quagmire and they don't think about just every day moving forward. But if you had an affirmation every day and you incorporated it into your daily life, I think that could make a huge difference for a lot of people.
Absolutely. One of the quotes, and it's actually not in this book, but one of the, I think, overriding quotes that I can kind of hear ringing in my head is it's only doing one or two things right, but doing those things every day that lead to success. And conversely, it's doing one or two things wrong, but repeating those over and over that lead to failure. So, that's why I kind of came up with that book. So
you could say that. That's really interesting the way you put it. You can say that about so many things. I'm sure you see in your practice people who have done things consistently wrong. I sit a lot of the day. Nobody's harnessing me to the chair. Okay. It's just the way I've been acclimated in my life, or indoctrinated. If you want to be dramatic, indoctrinated to sit. If you're a student, you sit to focus. So I naturally focus better when I'm sitting as opposed to being on a treadmill but that small habit of not getting up and not walking or moving around for hours leads to all kinds of physical issues, small and great. And so I'm sure you see people on a regular basis. What is that not old movie, but that movie 10 years ago, Sitting is the New Smoking or something? There was a.
I don't know if I've heard that one.
No, it was an intern. I think De Niro was playing an intern, and he said, "Sitting is the new smoking." Like it's the new worst thing you can do for yourself. I'm sure you see people have little habits like that mess their health up, prejudice their health all the time.
Oh, 100%.
What are the top two or three as a chiropractor?
Sure. So one of the big things is, obviously we're in the age of social media. So certainly using your handheld devices. So people spending all day with their head looking down at their phone like this, scrolling. And meanwhile, their head is in a flex position that has a tendency to overdevelop the muscles on the front of the neck, underdevelop the muscles in the back of the neck. And then as a result, people start to get neck pain, neck tension, headaches, things like that. There's even a diagnosis for it. It's called text neck.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, so that's just one of them. Certainly how we sit, most chairs are not designed properly from an orthopedic standpoint. We should have an arc in our lower back that's kind of like a reverse C. And even chairs you look at in school systems today are usually that reverse C kind of chair. So things along that nature. And then if you look at activity, people do a lot of activities wrong. Maybe they go to the gym and they're not using the right form when they do a bench press or they do a shoulder press. And because of that, they might develop an injury to their shoulder or to their arm or to their elbow, something along that line. So, it can happen from the inactive, passive type activities to the person who maybe has all the best intentions, but yet is doing it improperly.
It's crazy too, because people will look up all kinds of ridiculous shit. But if they're going to go to the gym and they can't afford a trainer, there's a wealth of information about following form and all that. But, for some reason, not everybody uses what's available to us for knowledge or, I literally ask ChatGPT, how do you get dog urine out of the couch? How do you do anything? But just to try to further my knowledge about things. And certainly if you go to the gym, I would imagine it would be helpful. So you've been a chiropractor for how long?
Oof, now you're going to really
Oh no.
get my age
Oh
here.
no.
So I've been a chiropractor over 30 years now. My first 10 years I practiced in New Jersey, and I moved to Florida in 2003. So I'm celebrating my 21st year in Florida as a doctor of chiropractic. So, but over 30 years now.
Oh wow. Well, I've been practicing as long, maybe a little more. And what brought you to Florida?
So I'm a Jersey boy. So I grew up in the Jersey Shore. Not the ones you.
I love those guys.
Those are all New Yorkers, just so you know.
Are
They're all,
they?
they're
I
all
did
New
not know
Yorkers.
that.
We had a name for them when I lived in Jersey. We called them Bennies, and those were the people we did not want coming to the Jersey.
I did not know that.
So the show is called Jersey Shore, but they do not represent Jersey boys or
And
Jersey.
what's crazy is that people now in their 20s, they've seen the remakes, which, I mean, they're like middle-aged people. And I've actually seen Paulie DJing I've seen Paulie DJing not that long ago in Vegas. And my kids know, like, Jim Tan Laundry, because they've watched that, and then they went back and watched the original stuff.
Yeah, so like I said, we don't really claim them, but I think unfortunately or fortunately, that's what people think of when they think of Jersey. But I got tired of the cold weather and the winters, and I enjoyed playing golf, and I enjoyed being able to do more summer activities. So in 2003, I packed up the family. We all moved to Florida.
It's summer almost all year round now.
And people ask me all the time, well, don't you get tired of it being hot? I'm like, no. I would definitely take the heat over the cold, never having to scrape my windows again or shovel snow. Trust me, those are things I don't miss doing at all.
Well, I mean, I'm native, so I haven't lived that. But so you do a little bit of traveling now, though.
Yeah, so I do enjoy traveling. Actually, most of the time when I do take trips, I'm going to South America. So I've got a girlfriend who lives in Colombia. I fly to Colombia probably about every 6 to 8 weeks or so. So it forces me to work on my Spanish. It forces me to learn about different cultures. I personally, I love the lifestyle when I'm out there. The people that I've run into, it's like it's
How's the lifestyle different?
So, and it's probably because of the cities that I go to, but like we walk everywhere we go.
Oh absolutely. I love that.
So we're constantly walking, we're constantly on the go. There's a lot of like banter back and forth. We run into people, everybody says hello to everybody, which definitely growing up in New York, New Jersey area, that's not something I was accustomed to. Actually, can I share a story?
Yeah.
So when I graduated chiropractic school, I went to chiro school in Atlanta, Georgia. I packed up my car. I drove back to New Jersey. I get to the New Jersey Turnpike. If you've ever been to the New Jersey Turnpike, and now it's probably all like, with all electronic, but back then, 1993, I had to pay a toll, physically pay a person, like cash toll.
Yeah.
And the New Jersey Turnpike, the way it worked is you get a ticket that has like all the different exits. And when you get off, you see what the amount is for your exit. So I get off my exit, and I think it was like $1.80. And so I'm like looking for 80 cents. And the guy says, all right, come on. Basically told me, move the F on. And that was my welcome back to New Jersey. And I felt right at home. So, but
I actually had a New York girl who started working for me, and she told me it was irritating to her in the morning that everybody had to say her hello, and then she had to tell because I have like 39 people who work for me, and then so she just she wanted to come in and look, not that we haven't felt that way when I'm definitely not a morning person, but she just found it. She said, it really took me an adjustment time because up there, everybody's busy, everybody's doing their thing, but here, and that's actually, it's similar to the way people in France feel about us. I visited France, and what the guide told us is, it's not that people are rude here. It's that we come to their culture and we're rude because we're like paying at the 7-Eleven or their version of 7-Eleven or whatever. And we're like, here's the money. And they're like, hi, good morning. And we don't return the volley, just because we're in our own world. But, going to different places definitely exposes you to different ways of thoughts, whether it's Jersey or I don't know where you go in Colombia. But
I just got back. I was in Bogota last week, but between Bogota, Cartagena, We've been to Barranquilla, which is on the shore.
Home of Shakira.
Yes.
But I was here about Cartagena. But did you develop an affinity or a love of salsa dancing before or after you went to Colombia?
The salsa dancing, everything comes full circle, right? So if I have to be completely honest, I took up dancing because I had a prior girlfriend who I had broken up with who liked to dance. I'm like, well, maybe I should learn how to dance now. And I started taking dancing classes.
After you ended up with her? While you were with her, or after you?
No, we had broken up. We had broken up. So then I okay, then I'm going to learn how to dance. So
To spite her?
no, because I was thinking, well, shoot, maybe we'll run into each other. Maybe we'll get back together. Who knows,
I
So,
love that.
so always some
Long range planning.
exactly
Long range, you're
thinking ahead. So, so I learned, how to dance salsa and bachata, and I love. I mean, it's that became a passion. And then going out there, obviously now I had different opportunities. We'll go to clubs where they're playing music, and we love to dance. So.
Oh, fun.
So, but originally it was literally, there was definitely ulterior motives in learning how to dance.
Yeah, you never know what you take from a relationship. I dated a guy for a very long time who would kind of dish me, like, your legs are very developed, your arms are really skinny, they don't really match your legs. And, sometimes you take on new habits. It could be bad or good. And then well after that person is out of your life, you've kept the habit. But if it's a good habit, it's added something to your, to
your repertoire.
To your repertoire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would say like that has really definitely, I learned how to ride motorcycles for another girl that I was trying.
That I don't think is an ideal situation. I hope you are not riding any motorcycles now.
You may say that's not a good habit, but
We call them motorcycles.
definitely makes sense.
My husband's a prostitute, not a prostitute, but a prostitute, and he helps people who've lost their legs find the right leg. Go to their homes, and he'll look at their surrounding, and what is the right leg for you may not be the right leg for another person. And after diabetes and being a veteran, motorcycle accidents are right up there for amputees, unless their family's coming in because they passed away. So I'm really not a motorcycle fan. Do you still have the motorcycle?
I still do. I don't ride very often. I do always wear a helmet. Actually, the place I like to ride is I like to ride at night. I like to ride on the Crosstown Expressway because there's no traffic and there's no cross traffic. To me, that's the biggest thing to be concerned about is cross traffic. Like if I'm even, let's say I'm on Kennedy.
That may very well be.
If I'm on Kennedy, I am always like, my head is on a swivel to make sure nobody's running a light across me. But that's the one thing I like about the Crosstown Expressway is I can go all the way down to one end, come all the way back. There's no cross traffic. And if you're on the express lane, it's amazing how few cars ride on that, say after like 8, 9 o'clock at night.
That's true. That if you're going to do it, everybody going the same way, not that very many people on there at all, then that would be the way to go. Because, not only do I see such tragic things, but on top of that, if just driving around the city, if you're on Del Mabry and, if somebody's responsibly riding a regular, not a crotch rocket or something, but like a regular motorcycle, you just see drivers not paying attention. And the motorcyclist has even less protection than I do. I've got a big Yukon just because I'm scared, not scared. That's got a bad connotation.
Cautious.
I'm cautious. I don't need, my husband for a small time had a Porsche, was an antique. Anyway, that thing broke down, but I rode in it one time and I was like, all right, peace out. Have a good time.
Give me something with a little bit more metal
little test drop. I don't like it. So, I wasn't sad when it broke down. I was sad for him because, it was a thing, but I was sad for him. So now you've got to the point where you're like salsa dancing, winning competitions. And your girlfriend must like the salsa too?
Oh yeah, she does.
Okay.
They dance a little bit there. Like the style of salsa is different in Colombia. It's like, depending on where you're at, it's like, whether it's from Puerto Rico or Colombia, their style is slightly different, but I get to learn how to more her style when I'm out there. So, and she thinks I do it wrong, so that's why I had to learn her style. She wasn't trying to learn mine, but she's from there. How am I going to argue with that?
I don't think you can. I think you're definitely at a disadvantage there.
100%. And on top of that, I'm the gringo. I'm the white
You're
boy.
the gringo. It's true.
So I can't tell anybody this is the way it's supposed to be done. I'm just I'll get in line with that.
Right there.
Yeah.
So am I going to be ruining your brand a little bit because we're talking about your girlfriend and you're like the sexy dancing doctor on your Instagram? I love some of those videos.
Yeah.
How do your patients react?
I've had a lot of very good reaction from my patients. They're always thinking they want to know, like, well, what are you going to do next? They're surprised that I can keep up with some of the moves, and some of them, I'll be honest with you, I can't do it all. I just screw up, and we just have fun with that as well. So I think it's always good though if you're willing to laugh at yourself. You don't take yourself too seriously. I mean, I think what we do is pretty serious, in terms of caring for people that are hurt and helping them feel better. That's the serious aspect. Making it fun for them to do it, so that they, maybe it's not a drudge or a dredge for them to come and do the things I'm trying to get them to do, whether it's rehab or strengthen or the adjustments. I think it's good that they see I'm willing to have fun with the things that we're doing as well. And I'm not afraid to laugh at myself.
I feel like having somebody adjust me would be such a personal thing. Like somebody's really laying hands on you to heal you or, to rehabilitate you the best they can. So I'm just putting myself in that position. I feel like if I would have to have a connection with a doctor to continue with that doctor. That's the first thing. And then if I saw that doctor doing something on Instagram that was playful or funny, I think that it'd be like seeing a cousin or a family member on social media. It'd make me even laugh a little bit more, make me even more connected. I feel like it would make me even relax a little bit more. I don't know.
I think it definitely helps. I mean, you referenced at the beginning, the patient who was willing to drive, miles to come see me. I practiced in Fort Myers when I first moved to Florida, and I still have patients that will come from Fort Myers to see me up in Tampa, just because they don't trust anybody else. So like, I trust my neck or my back in your hands. I don't know if I want to trust that in somebody else. And I take that very seriously. But I think you're right that it does help them kind of relax and say, okay, I'm safe. This is a safe spot. I'm in good hands.
I feel like I would feel that way. Just, and the Jeff guy, that character that wants you to adjust them and he's looking for you, and everybody can identify with some customer or somebody who's over the top in their profession. So I found that hysterical, and I watching the way you deal with it, whatever, in the bathroom or all of that to me was quite fun. But nothing will top the you don't bring me flowers. That.
Oh, the one in the bathtub?
Yes. That, but, if you trust your health to somebody and they are, like I said, laying hands on you and they're a person and they have both empathy and humor, I don't know. I think that makes me even more relaxed because it makes me feel like this person's being a little open with me. I can trust this person more. Aside from the 30 years and the credentials. Yes. That's a lot. That's a lot too.
I think those definitely help. So, I think that kind of leads one of my overriding philosophies in terms of practice, and business really, you've always heard the thing, in business, it's important to get people to like you, right? Have you ever heard that? Mm-hmm. And my philosophy is actually just the opposite, or maybe not the opposite. Maybe it kind of goes hand in hand, but my philosophy is that if they know, or the people that I'm working with know that I like them, then they're going to feel safer, because I'm not out for me. I mean, whether you like me or not doesn't really make a difference. But if you know that I like you, you know that I'm going to do what's best for you.
And you're more willing to follow the recommendations, more willing to relax during the adjustment, just probably more successful treatment. Yeah,
I think so for sure.
Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. I like I said, I've seen the dancing. I did not know about the books, and I'm psyched. I want to read them.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always great to talk to you.